Hey guys, welcome to Mott Hall Charter School, and I don't want to be late for class.
Hi guys, I'm Maria from Schola, and we are here at Mott Hall Charter School. Let's have a look. Hi guys, we are here with Ms. Lobdell, principal of Mott Hall Charter School. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Maria, for being here.
And I want to start by asking you, what is the mission of the school?
Well, the mission of the school is really to prepare our children, and we call them scholars because they are all scholars, but the mission is to prepare them for not just 21st century learning, but also just to be critical thinkers, and especially in this world right now that we're living in, it's more important than ever that our mission is very much tied into what is happening out in the world, where we need children to really think for themselves and advocate. So we do look at the whole child approach, and looking at the whole child approach, we make sure that we are embedding the social emotional aspects of the school and really speaking to character. So I would say that's probably sums up in terms of what we want them to be able to do. We know academically, we want them to succeed. We also understand that some children may not necessarily all be going to college, but we're really discussing the citizen. So in retrospect, that's really what our mission is about.
I really like that whole child approach because, as you said, not only to be excellent professionals, but also be citizens that can make an impact in their community and also in the world around them.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's amazing. And something that caught our attention when we walked in is these houses that you guys have. Can you tell me more about it?
Yes, we're excited about it. Although I'm not a Harry Potter fan, and apparently that's where it comes from, but I'm learning. I'm really learning.
What?
So we wanted to make sure that we were really advocating for inclusion. We know that in the past because of our setup and the way that we are set up with our children are in the main annex area, and then our sixth graders are in the other building, they don't really get a chance to interact with each other. Lunch is separate. Assemblies are probably the only time that they really interact. So we wanted to really incorporate that. And so we decided, the deans decided, they're amazing. They created kind of using the concept of houses where we had 6th, 7th, and 8th graders within each of those houses. And so it created a sense of camaraderie. It also allowed for our 8th graders to kind of mentor and peer mentor our other children. I think it created more of a conversation between them. Definitely competition, because that's a given. We're competitive, so we have good competition. But it also allowed for us to use that as a way to also say, okay, let's track our attendance. Oh, the Rock House is doing better than, come on guys, we can't let you, just beat out everyone else, or let them beat you out rather. Our 3 main houses, element related, and they really bought into it. And we have our, each group of children, they have their particular band that they wear. So they're really attached to it and they pay attention to it.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I think that builds the community.
It does.
And also that sense of a team. Like, you're not doing it on your own.
Absolutely.
You have a group of people that support you.
And they hold each other accountable, which is another piece of making sure that accountability, that mentorship, we basically incorporated to everything, including our advisory that we hold every Wednesday. They're integrated, but there is an opportunity for us to talk about what does leadership look like within all these with these houses. So we're excited. It's part of our PBIS program.
Well, today I'm with Peyton. She's an 8th grade student here at Mott Hall. And how long have you been studying here for?
This is my first year here.
And what do you like about the school?
I really like how the teachers keep it really positive as for the atmosphere.
Of course. And what is your favorite subject?
Math.
Math? What do you like about math?
I like the idea of problem solving and stuff that can really help with honestly just using critical thinking skills.
Of course, critical thinking skills, you're going to use it in the future no matter what you decide to do. And speaking about that, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I do want to be maybe a detective, because that's where I can really use my critical thinking skills to work as well.
That's amazing. That's so interesting. Being a detective?
That's interesting.
Love it. Very, very cool. I'm sure that you will be great at whatever you decide to do. Well, obviously the houses is something very unique from this school that I think is fascinating for all students. But what are other 3 things that make this school so special?
Building upon the house, we actually have a very strong academic deans, and we have one on each grade level. So not only are they here for safety purposes, but they've been trained in restorative practices. So our deans go to training, they are trained by psychologists, they're trained by social workers, so they understand the way the brain of an adolescent works. So that is unique to our school, one, because our school is not a very large school, but also because it really gives an opportunity for relationship building, and there's at least one trusted individual that all our children can come to. And the deans, they seem to have, that's their sweet spot. They seem to get conversation around things that we normally, administration or teachers don't necessarily always have are privy to. So that piece is very unique because there is constant learning, there is, they do perimeter checks for safety, so they're not your typical deans just in the classroom. They make sure that children leave the area of the gate, but they also walk around. Sometimes they walk our children to the bus stop. If a family member calls and says, I'm really concerned about just a child having an issue with another child, can you just keep an eye on? They make sure, some of them have walked them home. So that's unique. That's one thing that's very different, especially again, referencing where we are today. Another thing that's very unique to our school is that we were one of the first middle schools that started high school placement. So we actually have a high school placement guidance counselor, and we've been able to get kids into top high schools in New York City. And beyond that, we've been so excited to see most of our children that have already graduated and have gone to college, and they've gone to a lot of Ivy League schools. They've gotten great scholarships through the sports programs and that we've actually developed here, but grew this year more than ever. That's another big piece because we recently just had a high school placement meeting. We had about 30 families that came to sit and talk about the process. The children also have high school placement in every grade, so he goes into every grade to teach a high school placement class. Talks to the children from 6th grade all the way to 8th grade. 8th grade obviously being a little bit more important because they're getting ready, but 7th grade, as we know, that's kind of like a main area where children's academics is really important. So that's another piece that's extremely unique.
Of course, I wish I would have had that when I was a student.
Absolutely.
Just getting prepared for high school,
Yes.
which is a big change for every student.
The other thing is, you know, I'm very active in the classrooms, and I teach a class, and I teach classes, and to me, my kids don't come to me to get in trouble, so I don't consider myself just to kind of be sitting behind a desk. I hardly sit behind a desk. My assistant can attest to that. I love having that interaction. I'm not ever far from the classroom. And this year I'm teaching 2 leadership classes, and we are building partnerships with other organizations to really focus on leadership. It's really important to me. I think our kids don't realize that they are leaders, and so one of the things that they need to understand is that there are different types of leaders. So my hope is that with that, and also staying very close to support our teachers and give them the help that they need, I think it sends a message of all of us are in this together. We're not necessarily just someone that teaches kids, and we're all part of it. We're all part of the learning process. I would say those are the 3, obviously more than 3, but I'll stick to the 3. Those are really the key pieces.
Definitely walking the hallways with you, I just heard all students coming to you and just asking different questions, so I can tell that there is a very tight-knit community and they feel safe just talking to you or anyone in the staff. So that is really amazing.
Yes.
Well, we've already talked about the whole child approach that you guys have, but can you tell me a little bit more about that teaching and learning style here?
Sure, absolutely. So our teaching and learning style is based off the framework of the International Baccalaureate program. So we use a lot of statement of inquiry, and so our teachers really work with children on making sure that they have a bigger picture understanding. How does that relate to real world? So you'll find, as you were visiting classrooms, in one particular classroom, we had our math teacher who teaches algebra, and she incorporates her love of the Knicks and what she enjoys into the actual teaching. So if the Knicks win, the kids don't get homework.
That's amazing.
So, and it depends who you talk to or who's a fan of the Knicks, but they don't get homework. So if you notice, she has major leagues. So when they study their vocabulary, because vocabulary is such a big part of our instructional program, they've got to get on that major league, the minor league. So they may start off in minor league, but they get into the major league. That's a sports piece that she incorporates. She does a lot. She has this that she created, this basketball. So it's math incorporated with basketball, and she'll just kind of drill them on certain very important pieces. she ties it again into real world learning. And that is a very big part of the IB, as they call it, the IB framework, is that you're building off of real world. And so units are based off of, yes, you have to learn the standard, yes, you have to understand the content, but beyond that, the knowledge is, okay, so how does this apply to you if you were at a restaurant giving a tip? How does this apply to you if you are creating a podcast? Like, we're going to be doing that as one of our performance-based assessment will be a podcast. They're learning all the domains, the speaking, listening, writing, but we're going to incorporate that because that's a real world experience. Children need to advocate, they need to speak for themselves, they need to be able to articulate, get their point across. So that is kind of the teaching and learning. So there's a lot of questioning, there's a lot of expectations of you can do better. And then the restorative and social emotional piece is embedded within as well, along with social justice. So we have that built into the unit plans. And so we do address social justice. Children are talking about historical references, but they're also talking about what's happening currently. Seventh graders reading a book on the refugee. So I was actually helping teach that class yesterday, and we were talking about how does that relate to what's going on today? And what are the differences between migrants, refugees, and immigrants? And so they get an opportunity to tie in historical references with real world, present day, and the things that are, let's be honest, affecting them personally in their own neighborhood. So the teaching and learning is definitely based on that, and our teachers are really awesome with that. They challenge our kids. You know, they believe every child deserves to learn, and there's an entry port for every child. So I'm very proud of that.
No, definitely, and I really like that they challenge the kids, but in really creative ways.
Yes.
Like just learning about sports, or learning math, or as you said, going to a restaurant, which is something that they will do in their day-to-day.
Exactly.
I think that gives them the tools to just go to high school and beyond and just be prepared for what's out there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm here with Torian. He is an 8th grade student at Mott Hall. Torian, can you tell me, what do you like about the school?
Like, the teachers are cool and stuff. They teach us, like, they explain what we have to do, and like the things we have to learn to get past 8th grade.
That's amazing. And what is your favorite subject here?
My favorite subject's like math, I guess.
And what do you like about math class?
My teacher, she teaches, like, she explains what we have to do if we don't understand it, and like she gives us like not easy work, but like difficult, challenging work.
That's amazing. So you get to learn from your teacher, and you also get to work with your peers, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking about that special bond that you have with students, can you tell me more about the school community?
Sure. So we are a community school, and I think that's something that most other folks don't really understand, that charters are seen as these independent kind of non-public schools. So we are a community school, and with that, that means that we are basically the resources that we bring to the school are things that we share out with the community. Because the community is something that sometimes can be, outside of the school, can be a little challenging. We try to embed community within the school. So what we've created here is an opportunity for everyone to feel included. And that has allowed us to say, what is it that we need to do to make sure that we have this community, that our families and that our community members know that this school is here to support them and to support the children. And so what we've said is our kids need to be distracted. They need to be not on the streets. They already don't have many places to go. So we expanded our after school programs so that it's longer. We've added several sports. I think at this moment we're counting 7 different types of sports. We've also made sure that beyond that we extended our Saturday program. In the past, when we've had what we call Saturday Academy, which is where most of our children come to get tutoring and get ready for the state exam, we realized that we were having children just come and just hang out, help out, maybe play basketball. So we expanded on that idea and said, we want to build community, so you're welcomed here. We're going to make Saturday a longer day, and so you have an opportunity to be here. And if you're alumni, you get to come back and maybe help coach, maybe help speak to our kids. So the community that we're building is very important, because we're doing more than just saying we're going to have these particular things that everyone's having. We have a great relationship with the principal of the co-space, which is another unique thing. Most charters and DOE don't necessarily historically have had that kind of relationship. And so we include him in our community. When we have an event, we recently had an NBA player come to speak to our children, and they got to play. And so we included their elementary school children, and one of them actually won a signed basketball.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think the community really is what is the definition. It's not necessarily just what's outside the gates, but it's what you're bringing to the community. We share, we do fundraisers, we try to make sure that our children are learning about financial literacy. So I would say that's the biggest piece of when we talk about communities, that we understand what our families are facing outside of the school and in the area. But we say, in spite of that, we want to make sure that minimally our kids are really tired when they go home, and they don't really have a lot of time to get into sort of trouble. And it's working, because as we do our sweeps, our deans come back and say we're seeing less and less kids on the street around the corner.
That's
so
amazing.
Yeah, to us, that's really the definition.
And I think that's very unique that students actually want to come on Saturdays and be at school. I don't think every school can say that, and I think that's very unique. And also
Absolutely.
having that mentorship from students that graduated.
Yes.
I feel like when you see people doing what you want to do, you feel empowered to just pursue your dreams.
Absolutely. That's a key.
And can you tell me, where can people find more information about the school?
Sure, we're very active on social media. So we have an Instagram account, motthallcs.org. Same with our website. We just launched a brand new website, and so that's wonderful to look at. It's very appealing. We also are on Twitter, and we're actually going to be starting our own TikTok as well.
Ooh, amazing.
So we really want to make sure that that we're present, but also relating to what's happening and what's going on, and also just having being present with school as well.
Of course, yes, and people can also find more information on Schola, on the school profile. Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate
It was a pleasure. And I will see you all at the next school. Well, and that is a wrap at Mott Hall Charter School. I will see you all at the next school. Bye.